And you have just crossed the line. End of debate. Report to the cargo bay and remain there until this is over. Is that understood?
With a little bit of Janet. With a little bit of Janet. With a little
Come
bit
on,
of...
get up,
With a little
babe.
bit... And Miss Booby, I appreciate that, but this is audio. So Miss Booby, kick it off. This is a Miss Booby episode. Kick it off, girl, with some Janet.
Well, I miss you much.
Oh,
I miss you much.
Yes. All
Hey.
right. I missed my lunch. Welcome to Fire Chakotay. This is Mike Diamond.
This is Miss Matenga.
This is Booby.
And this is the most problematic, emblematic, automatic, neutronic Star Trek podcast in the quadrant. And today we are getting through season 6 with joy, compassion, feeling highly favored and blessed. And today's episode is called Virtuoso.
Virtuoso debuted on January 26th of the year 2000. And that was the 133rd episode overall of Star Trek Voyager to have been shot. And it is season 6, episode 13. It is a Doctor-centric episode.
And Miss Booby, this was your pick because you were a big fan of the character of the Doctor.
Yes, love him to death.
Love the Doctor.
Yes.
Love the Doctor.
Love my doctor.
So
Yes.
in a nutshell, let me give a 30-second synopsis of this. There's a bunch of really condescending short aliens.
Called
The Norma Kamali?
The Norma Kamali, because they all wear puffy jackets.
Right.
Yeah.
What are they
Bright
called?
colors.
You know, in
Girl.
colors and like blue.
We're going to get into the outfits, but what are they called, girl?
Campari.
The Campari? No, Campari's a drink, bitch.
Campari is a drink. But it was some-
Campari.
No, they're called the Kamari. Right?
The Norma Kamari? That
No.
doesn't sound right.
All right, then let's just kick it off with their fashions. I just want to say that I think at this point in the season, the budget was stretched thin because all these Norma Kamalis, they're wearing like cheap ass pajamas that look like they're all inmates in an asylum. But the synopsis is this race of condescending short aliens do not have music in their culture. They hear the Doctor singing and they gag.
Just to pass the time away.
What is that?
You mean singing?
Singing.
And then drama ensues.
Yeah, they're a highly advanced race and they have other forms of entertainment, but
Right.
they've never heard singing.
Music.
Yeah, and they're also like very into the mathematics of
Right.
music. They happen to be really into as well. And there's a lot of, math and music does go together because music has to make sense or has to be dissonant, not make sense. So that's kind of their way in. But what the thing that the episode hinges on is that they are absolutely struck dumb by the beauty and artistry of the Doctor.
Of Miss
who
Janet
I must say,
Jackson.
as well, honey, like if
Yes.
it was Miss Janet, you could at least be like, all right, fine, it's
Poppin' like you're
Janet,
popping the
but
corn.
not popping like you're popping the corn.
Isn't it?
But
Don't stop.
isn't
like
there
you're popping the
something about
corn.
like something like on the back porch, like in her butt on the back porch?
I just
With Dinah?
excavated.
What?
Oh, Booby bringing it back around. So
Someone's
Miss-
in the back porch with
just
Dinah.
got intubated. But and
And still
as a regular
unconstipated.
person,
don't stop.
no longer constipated. Don't stop. Because Miss Janet is an artist, But
Yes.
I mean, like literally, they are struck dumb by the beauty and the artistry of the Doctor. And listen, I am a fan of Robert Picardo. The Doctor is one of my favorite characters on the show, and I love a good Doctor-centric episode. But I have to say that that Robert Picardo's singing is pedestrian to serviceable at best.
Ooh,
At best,
wow. Okay.
and hard to listen to. And I think once or twice for the opera pieces, it was a different voice. It wasn't his voice.
I had an opera piece once. Motherfucker had to be 70 years old. Miss Booby, How do these short-ass aliens come into contact with Voyager? What's the setup here?
They had a problem with their ship, and so they had to be rescued and towed to their planet.
Well, it's Voyager that causes the damage because their cheap
Right, with
ass
their-
technology scanning shit. Right?
Right, that
Damages
messed
their-
up with their ship.
Interference from your antiquated scanning devices shut down our propulsion system.
And so they're all in sick bay.
And they were hurt, or some of them were hurt.
Right, because that one lady, Tukuku,
Yeah.
whatever, what's her name? Tinku,
Mm-hmm.
Tinku
Yes,
very
yeah,
much.
She got a hand,
she had like a
hand
burn.
problem.
Right.
Miss
They all had
Tinkuku.
some sort of problems.
They all
And
had
don't
some
they
sort of
look
problems.
Bajoran?
Well, because they have like the vertical ridge.
A little bit of a vertical ridge, and her hand problem was that she was indiscriminately giving out hand jobs, including to the doctor, who
And
was
he
like,
burnt her.
oh my God, you're popping like a corn.
Pop it like you popping a corn. Work it like you munching on corn. Ooh, that's Star Trek.
Oh, like you're
born.
corn.
Work it like you
Don't
munching on
stop, don't stop.
corn. Okay, so these
Gorn
short,
or Morn?
well,
A Gorn.
a Gorn is from original series. Morn is from DS9, right?
The reptile thing.
Right.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
Wait,
oh my
so
God.
pop it like you're munching Miss Gorn?
Work it like you munching a Gorn.
That's crazy. That's
Wait.
it, because he was definitely, he had pimples. So pop his pimples like you're munching him Miss Morn?
Ew.
Oh, I thought you said Laborn.
Oh, mama, no.
Pop it like you're munching LeBorn. Don't stop, don't stop.
Nobody's gonna know what that is, and
Stop.
we're gonna leave it that way.
Yes.
Now, since this episode is completely derailed already, let's derail it even further. I forgot to tell you, I have things for you both that I'm gonna mail to you, obviously. Just to let you guys know that
Oh.
y'all are my sisters, and I'm always thinking of you. Miss Matinga, first of all, I saw this, and this is gonna be arriving in your mailbox. It is a Wonder Woman Pez dispenser. I don't know if you can see that.
Word.
Can you see that? Yeah, so that's
She's
gonna be-
Yes.
she's very new too.
I would just
Word.
I just bought it. What? Oh, because it's
She will be
Justice
loved and
League. Justice
enjoyed.
League, yes. And Miss
Right.
Booby,
Right.
since I know that you're a fan of the North American Great Ape,
Man Boy Love Association.
I got you this. It's Sasquatch. It's Sasquatch.
Oh.
Get into Miss Bigfoot, honey.
Is it Sasquatch?
It's
No, it's Chewy.
chewing.
It's Amy Carter. So that's going to be arriving in your mailbox down there in Key Largo.
Yay.
Yay.
You know,
All right.
if listen, not that I advocate, doing drugs, but if you send some Adderall along with that, that'd be lovely.
That would be illegal. Not to mention immoral.
Darling, pets.
You have no
pets,
morals.
Darling.
I have to have my mammaliogram. All right. So
Your
getting
mammaliogram.
getting back to the episode. So they're all in sick bay, and Tinku in particular is being shady.
Could you contact one of your superiors?
Yes.
And
Oh,
they're
that
like,
little guy.
the little guy who looked like, he looked kind of swarthy,
He
actually,
looked like Beverly Leslie.
but swarthy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but Beverly Leslie, but he could never.
No,
He could never.
She
show
could
the shade.
never come for Beverly
She
Leslie.
could never even Joyce Leslie, darling.
I am programmed to perform more than 5 million medical procedures.
Does that include bloodletting?
No, but I'll be happy to add it to my repertoire.
So they're being shady, and they're like
Yes.
condescending to everyone, and they're maybe gonna like try to turn off the doctor's voice subroutine, and they're being even shady to the captain. And Tinku is like, we're not used to dealing with inferior cultures.
We are not accustomed to interacting with other species, especially inferior ones.
But Janeway plays
Yes,
along.
sir.
Try to bear with our deficiencies just a little longer.
But she's being a diplomat.
Right.
The doctor, on the other hand, his ire is being raised until the captain is like, listen, we damage these people's ships, play along, be nice, do the treatment, whatever. So she leaves, and that's when the doctor just starts humming. And the second, and of course he's humming "Row Your Boat," which is
Oh, no,
No, it's Railroad.
I've been
working on the railroad.
railroad.
But also a 200-year-old song, or maybe at that point a 400-year-old song that no longer has any license fee. It's not like he was gonna rock out with like
I miss you much.
I Miss You Much or Karma Chameleon or something like that, that they'd actually have to pay in perpetuity. They'd have to pay licensing. So it's all these like old songs that they don't have to pay licensing fees for. Now, mind you, these like, it's really hard to get off to, oh my darling, oh my darling, oh my darling Clementine, you can't, it's hard to get off, but he's trying to get off. And they're instantly like the moment they hear him singing, they're like, it's like one of these like, woof.
They're like the mother from
and they get like right up behind him and he's singing and he turns around. They're like, what was that? Do that again. And right away she gets the vapors. Right away she's like, oh, it's just me.
Like the mother
singing.
from what?
It's my singing.
From South Park. What?
Yeah, but because Miss Tinku's head like swivels, even though it's a tired song, which I'm gonna guess comes from slavery days.
Yes.
Right?
Working on the railroad.
Even though it's a tired slavery song, since they've never heard music, they're gasping.
Yes.
They're gasping because it speaks
and
to
right
something
away
in their
they're
brain.
like, what is the
algorithm?
What is the algorithm and the metronomic la la la? And he tries to explain to them the concept of music simply as entertainment. And to make a long story short, they are simply enamored by his voice. And he does a little concert for them where they are gasping. And so everyone is enjoying the concert. He comes out, he does like a cute little opportune. And then, they give somebody else a chance. And Harry comes out to play his clarinet. And right away they're like,
it's Harry Kim and Kim Chi and the Kim Tones.
Yeah, and the Kim Tones. And right away they're like, they ain't feeling it.
The only two African-American crew members
are in the band.
They're in the jazz quartet, which I think is,
right, because Tom Paris is like, and now a number from Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Right, exactly. and now a number from Magic Mike, Extra Large.
Extra Large. So the Kamalis and the Norma Kamalis in the crowd, they're straight up and blatantly rude. And they're like, we want the doctor. We want the doctor. And rather than shut them down, they encourage the doctor to go up and sing with them, which I think was the wrong move.
Well, he goes up there and he joins the band and does a little riff, and they do like a
skiddly wow wow.
Yeah, like a
they do that old black magic, right?
That old black magic, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Or as I used to sing to my first African American lover, that old black tragic.
Oh, snap.
He's got me in his spell.
Oof.
That old black tragic that I know so well. Skippity bobbity boo.
Skippity bobbity boo. Scat.
And it went over with him as good as it's going over with you guys.
So clearly the Kamari are not just into music, they're into the doctor doing music.
Right. Doing
right. Yeah, they're feeling him doing what he's doing. And then he gives a concert like on the surface that they build a giant stage for him and it's very elaborate. He comes out, he does Pagliacci, and he's dressed as the sorrowful clown, and this concert is transmitted all over their planet, and within a day the doctor becomes
Madonna.
Yeah,
like not even like even bigger than Madonna. He becomes like the Elvis Presley, the Michael Jackson of this planet. Like, and suddenly he's getting hundreds of thousands of pieces of fan mail, and like he becomes a star, like instantly a star.
Right.
And they want him to remain on that planet.
He goes to work like a doctor.
Unlike a doctor. Unlike a doctor.
But before that happens, isn't there a scene with him and B'Elanna having a little shade fest, but like a friendly shade fest?
Right.
And she's like, I'm an engineer, not a costume designer.
Anyone seated in the back 5 rows will have an obstructed view.
You're right. They won't be able to see anything but the top of your head. The glare could blind them.
He wants everyone to have a good line of sight, so they actually are rebuilding this theater for him
because they're all like 4 feet tall.
because they're all like really, really short. But they do. It's like they're like, listen, Doc, these people don't have the time to rebuild this amphitheater to your specifications. And then Miss Kikaju, whatever her name is, she's like, oh no, we'll do whatever the doctor wants.
It's kinky. It's kinky.
Yeah. Miss
Boy and a
Kikaju.
girl.
Everyone knows it's kinky.
Miss Pikachu
Yes.
decides to, and
Junkanu.
Miss
Junkanu.
The doctor should have sang "I Say a Little Prayer."
Yeah.
But they rebuild the stage, and the doctor, the performance goes off without a hitch, and then now it's getting out of hand. Now,
Hold up. You know what we jumped right over?
What?
Who was the
7 of
guest?
9.
Well, 7 of 9, but also the guest star who plays Prelate something.
Oh yeah, that he was in
Paul Williams.
Ever After. That's Paul Williams.
That's Paul Williams. That's right. That totally was going to go.
So
right
he's
by
kind
me.
of like the leader of this planet,
The
or like
prelate.
a high-ranking muckety muck.
Right.
Yes. And interestingly enough, the actual singer on this episode that does no singing is Paul Williams. Paul Williams has hit songs.
What
and
did he
is
sing?
Paul Williams sang
Do you know what I know him from? Do you remember that movie Brian De Palma's Phantom of the Paradise?
Phantom of the Paradise.
That's
he's the DJ.
It's kind of the only thing I remember him from, but he's
He
been
was
in, like,
also
a lot of things.
He's also in 2 of the Planet of the Apes movies, but his song is "Take Me Home, Country Road to a Place."
I think that's John Denver. Isn't that John Denver?
It was John Denver. It was Glenn Campbell, but the person who originally did it, I'm pretty sure,
Paul Williams.
Maybe he
Paul
wrote
Williams.
it because he was a prolific
He
songwriter.
he wrote a lot of hits.
Do you know who turns that song out? Livy Newton-John. Her version's
so
gorgeous.
good. It's gorgeous.
Take Me Home, Country Road.
Take me home, country road.
So he's the high muckety muck.
And he doesn't sing a note, but he's absolutely living. And it comes down to, at one point there's a line like stretching practically off of the ship to get the doctor, like, I guess, does a hollow thing of his first performance.
An 8x10x4.
An 8x10x4 of his performance. Suddenly he is, he's signing autographs and selling copies of his music, and there's, lines waiting to, he's got fans. And so they ask him to stay, and he decides to stay and asks the captain in a very uncomfortable scene that he wants to go, and she fights him because he is the doctor.
Well,
they
so
need him.
Bring it, Booby.
At one point, Tuvok says that there is an emergency in Astrometrics, and that she needs to. Oh no! 7 of 9 calls the bridge and says that these Campari are trying to sabotage the ship, and it's because of all the fan mail that the doctor's getting, and she doesn't understand what fan mail is, and the captain explains to her what it is, and that the doctor is very loved.
This isn't sabotage, 7. This is fan mail.
The word, I believe, derives from fanatic.
Exactly.
But it's a nice explanation of what fan mail is and what a fan is. And I think, and they read a couple pieces of the fan mail, which I wonder if that's inappropriate. She's the captain. It's the Captain 7-9. Who cares?
Well, because they're getting all this, teraquads of information. They're going to look at it.
And they read a couple of the fan mails that, absolutely glowing fan mail for the doctor. You could see how the doctor might get stars in his eyes.
And aren't there like 2 sisters that kind of crash the sick bay because they want to give him a hot tamale sandwich?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Hot. What is it?
Kinka and Stinka. A hot Carl. A hot
Carl.
pastrami. Honey.
Honey, a hot Campari. You don't want a hot Campari, honey.
Girl, you won't feel well. So, and 7 is also, the whole crew is a little pissy that the doctor is getting
all this attention.
His ego is getting puffed up. He is walking around a little bit arrogant. Feeling fab. Is Neelix kind of like acting as his manager or something at one point?
Or his one of his groupies almost.
Neelix is sort of like corralling the line for these holographic.
Like, now.
For these 8x10x4s.
He's being the helpful Neelix that he always is. I don't think he's he's just being helpful Neelix.
Okay, right.
And I think that the crew is bemused by the Doctor's success because I think most of them can probably see straight through to what a hack of a singer he is, but they're happy for him.
But Seven is wounded.
I've downloaded some social lessons we haven't covered yet. There are 17 new chapters.
Does one of them include instructions for ending a friendship?
Well, she's wounded that he's leaving because, they're friends. And, if he wants to grow as an individual and have a mate and all of those things, he can do those things on Voyager, although it's much, much harder on Voyager.
Right.
To, because that's everybody's struggle on Voyager. Getting laid, becoming better than they are, trying to get home.
Was Chakotay in this episode?
Yes.
Very briefly.
You said getting laid, and I just thought of him. I'm finding him
not
cuter.
Tom Paris.
No, I thought of Chakotay first today.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, but Chakotay's getting laid, man. He's getting hand jobs in the mess hall from like lower decks. He's getting it from somewhere.
Honey, from
like on the low.
From the Two-Spirit, from everybody on the ship.
Yeah.
He's getting play.
Chakotay is for play.
Yeah, he's getting it. He's in the holodeck, and Akuchi Moya is on top.
Honey, he could coochie my Moya.
We are skipping something.
Like the whole episode.
One of the most important parts is when the Tim Cuckoo or whatever her name is, Jambalaya.
Tinku very much.
Kinkajou
and Jambalaya tell the Doctor that she has feelings for him.
You can't always explain things with an equation, Tinku.
What about the simplest equation of them all? 1 + 1.
1 + 1.
1 + 1 = 2. The most important, the easiest.
The easiest slice of Campari coups you ever had. Oh no, the most important equation.
There's no way that you can miscommunicate that. The most important equation. She came across as she was really into him.
And he was feeling
and he was feeling that.
Yes. And that is part of what really pushed him. But it's interesting how, at one point, I forget if it was B'Elanna or if it was the captain that say to the Doctor, look, you could go down there and you're today's flavor. But there's no guarantee that you're going to be tomorrow's flavor. I'm paraphrasing here.
Right.
You could be Janet Jackson today, but you could be Stacey Q tomorrow. Because people's tastes and interests wane.
That ain't right. Why you got it? Honey, Stacey Q is not for play, baby.
Oh, honey, because nobody plays her music anymore. She truly is not for play, because nobody play her music anymore.
Well, we'll get to her on an episode of Facts of Life. But don't they have a conversation?
And then
where
the Doctor,
he refers to her as Kathy, and she's like, "I wasn't aware we're on a first name basis."
Oh, come now, Catherine. It's not as though there's been a flood of medical emergencies.
I wasn't aware we were on a first name basis.
I love it when the captain snaps the crew to attention.
Right, like wait a minute, hold on.
I'm the mother of the house, but
I'm the mother.
I'm the mother.
But mind you.
And so, but it was a very salient point that just because you're getting all this love and adoration right now doesn't mean that you're going to be yesterday's flavor, in a month or two. And that does come back to bite him in the ass in the denouement of this particular episode.
Because his plan is to stay on Kamari, be these people's Madonna, and leave Voyager kind of like without a doctor.
Yep.
Then shouldn't I be given the same respect as any flesh and blood member of this crew?
Every member of this crew is expected to fulfill his obligations.
Now, the thing is, I was thinking about that. There would still be a doctor. Because remember when they steal the doctor on some other episode, it's a later episode that we watched it with Dan Deavy.
It was Equinox, right?
Yeah, and they steal the doctor, and then the doctor, they leave a copy of the doctor, the original backup copy, and then the doctor gets taken to this planet where he's like gets sold, and he's
that's
helping
later.
people in a mining colony.
That's later, yeah.
So there is a basic backup to the doctor. Like they could still have that backup. It would be kind of like the doctor when they turned the doctor on the very first episode, in which the doctor was turned on. He would just be like a brand new holographic
But
doctor.
they would be losing their friend.
They'd be losing their friend, but they'd still have a doctor. They would still have a doctor.
That's true. So he's really going because he's addicted to the attention. He
thinks he may be in love.
He thinks Kinkajou is in love with him, right?
And he thinks Kinkajou is in love with him.
Right. And I tell you right now, I'm not.
And she's not, like, she's very, very flighty.
Can we get into Miss Tinku for a second? Is it me?
You guys stay away from those kinky Jews.
Was that a terrible performance or is it just me?
A terrible performance.
Flat.
Yeah, very
she
flat.
comes across as very flat.
Very flat.
Like,
very flat, two-dimensional.
She was terrible.
Yeah. No emotion behind the eyes.
At any
very
point.
Dead behind the eyes.
Because even the other Kamalis, at some points they have a little variation, a little shading and a little flavor.
Yeah.
She's just like flat, honey, in her little blue
one note
suit. Ugh, one note. She's terrible. She's terrible.
Yeah. Like you know what? Who would want to stay on this planet if you're the fiercest thing this planet has ever seen?
Girl, I can't get off
Honey,
Earth. I've tried.
Exactly. You don't want to stick around.
Right.
If it's as fierce as you, then you don't want to be there.
So the doctor does turn in his resignation to Kathy, who begrudgingly accepts it as his friend, although as his captain, she's a little bit pissed. And
she's hurt. She's flat out pissed and hurt.
She's hurt. She's pissed, but she is pissed and she is hurt. Seven, of course, is pissed. Balana's probably indifferent. And he goes down to the planet to have a chat with Tinku, and she gives him some news that kind of rocks his world.
She thinks it's a compliment and he's going to enjoy this news.
And what is that news exactly, Miss?
That they replaced him.
Well, you were reluctant to leave your ship, and you also doubted your ability to sing my composition. So I created a superior holomatrix.
They replaced him.
She created a new holographic matrix that can carry a tune that she wrote that he cannot.
Right, because she wrote some
new and improved.
She wrote some busted.
She wrote a new piece that's tired
based on the intersection of two abstract tangential something or others. Girl, please.
Right.
Yeah. And she's like, we created this new holographic, fantastic superstar. I expected Lady Gaga to pop out.
But also, you know what she constructed was a musical instrument. Because
a copy of the Doctor.
It's a copy of the Doctor, but you can't make a copy of the Doctor as he is a sentient hologram. What you're getting is a copy of this program that has a better and a higher, tuning resolution and more notes to sing and whatever. But the Doctor is truly a unique thing that can't be copied. And that's what the captain was saying. You were saying, you are an individual to us, but what are you to them? Are you just a pretty face and a pretty voice? Because that can be replaced, and it is. And he, as his final performance, decides to just sing a love song, something personal and something within his range.
And then he breaks out with "Poppin' like you poppin' the corn."
Poppin' like you're popping the corn.
No,
Doctor.
Pop it like it's hot.
Pop it like it's hot.
He does, but then he breaks into "I'm going back to Cali."
Cali.
And Tinku's like, "No, I don't think so."
No, I don't think so. And you know what? He actually does a touching rendition of this ballad because his heart is broken, and then she brings out her instrument, her simulacrum of the Doctor.
While he's singing, the captain is in the stands, the seats, crying.
She's touched.
She's moved. She's moved by his performance, like genuinely moved.
Which is what an actual. That's what a soul will do. That's what a human being that touches you with their voice. It's usually because the emotion of the lyric is coming through. Not just because the notes are pretty, because that's what an instrument like a horn will do, but what the human voice can do is can transport you to a different place because the feeling is in the vocal. And that's what he does.
Like,
and she can't recreate that.
Even though he is a hologram, he has
feeling.
He has feelings. He has texture to him.
And emotion.
That can't be replicated. I believe it was my good friend Stevie Wonder who said, music is a world within itself. It's a language we all understand, except for the fucking Norma Kamali.
Yes.
Right? You know, Miss Stevie. Have you seen Stevie Wonder's new wife? Neither is he.
No.
Neither has he. But you know that Stevie Wonder wrote, "Pop it like you're popping a corn.
Pop it like you're popping a corn.
Don't stop.
Don't stop. Don't pop. Don't pop."
Try to bear with our deficiencies just a little longer.
What is this song?
Oh, it's
you don't know that song, Miss
Janet Jackson.
No.
Don't stop. It's so complicated.
Don't stop. You know.
Feeling X-rated.
Don't stop. Don't stop. You never heard that song?
No.
Wow, I'm getting Miss Booby.
Booby, it's one of Janet's most fierce fucking. You've heard it. I know you have. Because weren't you with us? No, it wasn't you. It was Chad. It wasn't you.
Right.
Wasn't it Chad? I think
when
it was
we
Chad.
saw Janet at the pier.
And that's because at the pier we saw Janet perform at the pier.
And she's saying that. Don't stop.
She's saying, "Pop it like you're popping a corn.
Pop it like you're popping a corn.
Don't stop. Don't stop."
I don't
what
know.
She really saying?
No, I don't know what she's saying.
She's saying, "Don't stop." She's saying, "Don't stop," and she also sang.
She might be saying, "Pop it like you popping a
song
corn."
for it? Pop it like you're popping a corn. No, I don't think so.
I think she is saying that.
I'm gonna have to check. I don't think she.
Because you know what? Lyrically, it makes sense.
Pop it like you're popping a corn.
But
no,
something about getting fucked
what kind of corn are we talking about?
Not like a corn on your foot, like corn like Jiffy Pop or like
on the cob.
No, I thought like popping the corn and feeding the children. Like pop like your asshole popcorn.
No,
like like your hole is popcorn.
No, she's saying like make it hot, like popping it like you popping some corn, honey.
No, pop it like you're popping a corn.
No,
like
bitch.
Like your booty pop out.
She doesn't do medical scenes, darling. It's a Jiffy Pop reference. It's an Orville Redenbacher, darling.
I don't think, but anyway, she's saying that, and the song that she does for AIDS awareness,
Together Forever.
Forever. Did that, and everybody was jumping up and down. And mind you, we were no more than 25 feet away from her, but I was so high.
I thought she was a hallucination.
I thought she was a hallucination. Like I knew she was there, and I knew it was happening.
Right.
But I was so high.
Really? And there was that goth queen with the nails coming onto you.
Like who came and then who touched my hands because I was voguing. And she was like, "Oh, you've got beautiful hands," but then she had like fang teeth and a lot of jewelry. And I was like, "Pop it like you're popping a corn."
Which brings us back to the episode.
Yes.
So there's Captain Janeway crying in the stands.
Yes.
The doctor,
which I thought was lovely. She really sheds a tear.
She was touched.
She was touched. And then the doctor, exits, and
the new doctor,
Kinkajou, introduces the new doctor who does this crazy composition and it's awful.
And the audience lives.
They're living.
They did not live for the original Doctor's love song at all. They were
they liked it. He got polite applause. They liked it.
Well, what Kinkajou says when he walks off, Kinkajou's like, "Oh, wasn't that fascinating? That's shady."
Thank you, Doctor. That was fascinating.
Wasn't that fascinating? Bitch, fuck you. Put on some clothes.
He sang it for you, bitch.
And he sang it to you. And you know what? Like, it also goes to show you that, this race is, today you're the new shiny thing and I'm into you. But tomorrow you're yesterday's pecan pie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, who wants an old piece of pecan pie?
I keep asking around town, who wants this old piece of pecan pie?
Old pecan pie.
And you know what? Nobody.
No,
nobody wanted. So is it that they like the new performer because it's new, or because it was doing something that the doctor couldn't do? Were they
Yes,
just
I think it's a little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
So the doctor's wounded because the Kamali got over him, and also Kinkajou was not in love with him. She was
Kinkajou was
trying
not
to
into
say
it.
her big
But you
surprise
know
is
what?
she built this new thing.
But you know what though? You know what? There's no mistaking what she said. And then for her to turn on a dime like that,
Yeah.
it's
Shows
cruelty. It's cruelty. Or maybe, you know what? He's a program and she didn't assess that this is a sentient being. And she treated him like a program, which goes to show you he would have been miserable had he stayed.
Right. So it's a good thing that happened.
Because they're not particularly nice.
No, they're not nice.
They're not particularly nice. So the doctor, realizing what has transpired, tucks his tails between his legs, as Kathy says, basically says, "Yo, can I have my gig back?" And she's like, "Sure, bitch. Papa like you popping that corn."
Resume your normal activities. All of them.
Yes, ma'am.
But it finishes off on a beautiful note. Tom and the doctor are in the medical bay, and the doctor is just humming, "What have you done for me lately?" And Tom's in the background, like surfing shoulders.
But he's doing the version from the American Music Awards.
Yes.
That is the jam. Yeah. That is the jam, honey. Yo, we gotta do what?
My mouse died.
Oh well,
honey, why'd you stick it in your ass?
Yeah, for real.
That's a and then you get that's what killed it, girl.
That's what killed
my
it.
mouse.
How it actually ends is
709 comes in
and says, "Yo, you got another piece of fan mail," and the doctor's like, "Bitch,
I don't want to read it, not a word.
Trash it, just trash it."
Toss her.
She presses on and reads it anyway.
And it's so sweet. I'm your #1 fan.
It really is.
Who wrote that? It was 709 adjunct.
Tertiary
adjunct to Unimatrix 01.
Yeah. Oh, it brought a tear to my eye.
I'll always consider myself your loyal fan.
Who's it from?
It's signed 7 of 9, Tertiary Adjunct of Unimatrix 01.
And the
Let
doctor
him know
feels
that
it.
she love him.
Yeah, and the doctor feels it. Honey, you know that the doctor took that and he kept that. That's the one piece of fan mail that probably really meant something to him.
Yeah.
He kept it in his spank bank. Yeah.
Yeah.
He inserted it.
So he was what Seven was saying was not just I forgive you for kind of being a shitty friend for a minute, but also like, yo, I love you. Yo, I'm still your fan.
You my boo.
Even though the whole planet thinks you're tired now and that you're the Stacy Q of this quadrant.
Yeah,
I think
still my
fab.
true boo.
Yeah.
And I have a question. Would you stay on Voyager as Lieutenant Stacy Q?
Yeah.
Or would you stay on this planet, even if your fame did sort of go down a little bit because somebody takes your place, but you still stay very famous, like, mid-range famous, like,
Zsa Zsa Gabor.
Yeah, you're like the Zsa Zsa Gabor of this planet and completely loved.
Yeah, no, I don't. Zsa Zsa Gabor, that's not worth staying around. I mean, like, if we're talking like, am I like an Amy Grant circa 1992?
Michelle Visage.
Oh, lies.
But the thing is, though, is Michelle, whether we like her or not,
she's somebody.
She is famous. She is famous.
She is famous.
Okay, I would say if you're as famous as
like a
Jennifer Holliday.
Okay.
Ooh, so only the gay Kamalis would know about me.
But you're invited to all the hot, Pikachu events and the Pikachu events.
I'd stay on Voyager with my friends. I would.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have fame and fortune on this planet.
But you know what? He doesn't need fortune. Okay. And fame. Do you want to be a
fame is fickle?
Stay on Voyager and be a big fish in a small pond. Sing in the mess hall, honey. Make them gasp. Okay.
Well, but the thing is on Voyager, he is a small fish in a small pond. But on the planet, he'd be a big fish a medium fish in a giant pond.
Yeah. But would he be feeling fish?
Well, he could alter his program however he feels.
That's true.
To live his truth.
Which is the natural point where we have to give our ratings for this episode. Now, Booby, since this was your selection, Virtuoso, what is your rating for this episode and why?
I give it a 4.5 stars.
Wow.
I really, really, really loved it because it said a lot about the Doctor. I love the play between Catherine and everyone else. I loved it.
Fantastic. I am going to give it 4 Kinkajues.
Wow.
I also really liked this episode. I thought it was a nice piece of comedy. I thought every character was true to who they were. What you gagging at, you bitches? What is happening here? Is my audio delayed?
No.
Y'all are texting behind my back.
No.
Is there's a private chat going on? I'm gonna look. No, there isn't.
No. I'm waiting for Matinga to give it her rotten score.
Okay, well then let me finish then. I love the scenes with Kathy. Excuse me, Captain Janeway and the Doctor.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's perfectly all right, Doctor. Or do you prefer Maestro?
Please. Either is acceptable.
And Captain Janeway and the short aliens. I thought everyone was sassy. Everyone was true to character. I liked Seven's little character turn. I thought it was a nice, humbling and funny episode for the Doctor. I liked it. 4 Kinkajues for me.
I thought this was not the worst episode of Voyager I've ever seen. I will say that I'll never get that 44 minutes back, and I felt a little less alive after I finished watching this episode, but I am still alive. So since you both gave it such a high score, I'm gonna give it a very low score to even it out.
Right.
So like almost like it was on a curve. So I'm gonna give it a 1.5 Leola roots, because I felt there was no joy in Mudville.
Wow.
I knew you were going to give it a low score, but that actually took me by surprise.
Yeah. Once again, not the worst I've ever seen, but this episode offered me no enjoyment.
Wow.
No, it gave me no life. I just was very, very blah about it. Very blah.
That was fascinating.
Wow. Well, you know what? Everyone's entitled to their opinions. Yes, absolutely.
That's right.
Virtuoso. Okay.
And
that is Virtuoso from season 6 of Star Trek Voyager. Speaking of Star Trek Voyager, Matinga, tell us about that shirt you're wearing. Describe it for the listeners.
Well, for the listeners and the very, very few people who actually watch, wait a minute, that does not like the way that sounds. For the people who watch and for our listeners, I am wearing some Fire Chakotay merch. I'm wearing the Delete the Wife t-shirt, which is from a quote from the episode Fairhaven that we covered a couple weeks ago. Really funny episode. I suggest you check it out. Delete the Wife, Catherine Janeway t-shirt.
I thought it meant something totally different.
What did you think I meant?
I thought that you had done a shirt that was so unmentionable that it was, but it had something to do with a wife. And I thought Matinga was saying, delete the wife, get rid of that t-shirt.
No, it is the Delete the Wife t-shirt.
Oh, gotcha.
Y'all want me to delete some of that other merch we got in the pipeline? Yes. On that note, that concludes another episode of the Janet Jackson podcast, Fire Chakotay. This is Mike Diamond.
This is Miss Matinga.
This is Booby. At one point, he was singing, the new one was singing, and several voices were coming out of him.
Yes.
Like he was possessed, male and female voices.
And she was feeling her oats too, and she had just come to life.
Yeah.
It's like, girl, you need to bring it down a notch because you
just
sound
came
weird.
to life, mama.
You just came to life, honey. I brought you into this world. I will take you out. They call me the mother.